Hello lovelies, happy new year to you and you're welcome back to my channel. In this video we'll be looking at this beautiful underbust corset dress, and I have a tutorial how we drafted this pattern. This is the front pattern and that's the yoke. I've added all the same allowance that I'll be needing for this. Same with the back bodies. Okay, we have the yoke there and the pieces for the underbust corset. Okay, so I've added the same allowance, and the next thing we'll have to sew these pieces. So you have to be careful how you pick your pieces if you need to keep the patterns on the pieces so you won't be confused and pick them one after the other, because that's exactly what I'm going to do in this tutorial. So I'm picking them pieces by pieces, the middle back, the side back one, the side back two, and I'll be picking the pieces both for the lining and for the main fabric. Okay, so I'll do the same thing to the front pieces as well. And when I'm done with that, this is what we'll have. So I've sewn the cup part separate and the underbust corset separate, and I'll bring in the yoke. Okay, look at it. I have the skin tone of the client and I added about 3/4 inch for the seam allowance to join it to the to the cup part and the yoke. So that's how it will come in, and then we'll sew it to the cup, and then we'll work on the back yoke. So I've used a bias to turn the neck and the keyhole part. Now I'll need to sew this yoke to the back bodies. So you need to be careful to place this back pieces together. Like I said, for the keyhole, I work with the dart position. Okay, that's the dart position. I have to place it like that. I'll sew them together, and then I'm gonna make a lacing bag that will have to snatch the waist some more. So when I'm done with the upper part, I'll bring in the skirt part of the dress, and I have a tutorial on how to make a basque waist, because that's the same technique we'll be using here. So I'll bring in the upper part of the front panel, and then I'll place it on the skirt part. Now the blouse part, okay, we'll have to go in, go on the skirt part, and I'll be measuring the underbust, so I'll be sure of the hip line. Okay, so you want to be sure that when you're attaching this to the skirt part, the hip line will not be too long, like lower than it should be. So to be sure of how I'm placing this upper part, I will need to bring in a tape rule and measure from the underbust measurement. Now the underbust measurement I worked with is 14 inches. So I'm going to place 14 inches on that underbust corset, and I'll be measuring from there to know my hip line. Now from there I can detect my half length, and from the half length I can know my hip line. And I'll be tracing that blouse part just the way I'm doing this video. Sorry, it's not that visible. So I'll trace it, and when I've gotten that, I will then trace half inch. That's what I'll be using to sew the skirt part to the blouse part. Okay, so I'll use that half inch, I'm tracing it out, and then the next thing I will cut out that excess. When I cut out that excess, I'll simply, you know, spread it and notch. I'll simply notch the midpoint, and that will make it easier for me to join it to the blouse part, because on the blouse part too I'll be notching the midpoint. So you bring the midpoint together and then you use half inch to sew. I'll be doing the same thing to the back panel. Okay, bring in the blouse part, and then you will have to be careful. You have to remember that we we took out about 1.5 inches from the zipper allowance, so we do not have any zipper allowance on the blouse part. So on the skirt part, when you're placing it on the skirt part, you will need to omit that zipper allowance and place it such that you will not go into the zipper allowance. So I'll trace it out just like I did to the front panel, and then I'll trace out another half inch, which I'll be using to sew the skirt part to the blouse part. Now when I'm done cutting, I will take this skirt part. I'll first of all install the zipper. After installing the zipper, I'll then sew the back pieces to the skirt part. So when I'm done with joining all the pieces together, I've taken out my seam allowance and I added yoke, the back yoke and the front yoke. This is what I have. It's already a dress. So at this point, I'll bring in my lining. Now I did my double boning, invisible boning to the lining. Okay, and I did it double boning. So I have a tutorial on that. I will leave it in the description box below. I'll bring in the lining at this point. Exactly what I did to the lining, I mean to the fabric, is what I did to the lining, except the yoke part. So now we are turning it from where we joined the yoke to the underbust. I'll first of all turn out that part that we are going to have the opening at the back. I'll turn it and top stitch, and then I'll use the neck as well, and turn it out. And after that, this is what we have. So if this video adds any value to you at all, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe and share. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video.